Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a specialist midwife for infant feeding at United Lincolnshire Hospitals. And we've had a lot of questions on how you know if the baby's getting enough milk. So I thought we'd just talk about kind of the key ways you would know. So first of all, just thinking about during the feed. So during feeds, how you'll know it's going well is if when the baby's on and latched well, the feed should be comfortable for mum. So if it's uncomfortable and pinchy the whole way through, that could be an indicator the baby's not on effectively, not getting the milk as well. We have another little video on positioning attachments, so you can have a look at that. The other thing to look at during the feed is the baby nice and relaxed? So if the baby's happy and at the breast and not coming off and on, that's a good sign that the feeding is going well. And then you can also look at the sucking pattern during the feed. So during the feed, the baby will normally at first latch on and they'll do quite rapid sucks, and then the sucks will go to slower sucks with swallows and pauses. And the swallows will be much more noticeable after day 3. Now the swallows, also you can kind of notice them because sometimes there's like an extra drop in the double chin here, and you might also hear a sound. It sounds sort of like a k sound. So those are really reassuring sounds. So if you have a look at all of the feed, that's really helpful. Another way to make sure that your baby's getting plenty of milk is making sure they have about 8 to 12 feeds in a 24-hour period. And in addition, trying to offer both breasts at each feed. They might not always want to take both breasts, but try and offer them. But the other way you can know if the baby's getting enough milk is by looking at the baby's output, so their wheeze and poos. And I have, very fun, a knitted nappy here, which talks about the poos. So if your baby's only getting breast milk in, then whatever comes out tells you what went in. So if you look at the poos, what we know is, I'll just reverse it, when the baby's first born, the first couple of days, they tend to have meconium poos, which is this black sticky stuff, and it kind of progresses like this, so along like that. That's maybe the second day, and then on the third day it'll be kind of more green, and then it'll progress to brown. And what that is the breast milk's coming through the baby's tummy and pushing the meconium out. And now around day 5 you should get yellow poos, and that is digested milk, which is really fabulous. Now the other thing to think about is the wet nappies. So what we say is on days 1 and 2 you expect your baby to have 1 or 2 wet nappies a day, and they might sometimes have kind of a brick dusty color to the wee, and that's called urates. That's quite normal on days 1 and 2. But after that, on days 3 and 4, there shouldn't be any more of that brick dusty color. And you should get about 3 or 4 wet nappies on days 3 and 4, and then about 5 or 6 on days 5 and 6. And then after that, 6 good wet nappies a day. I forgot to also say with the poos, after day 5 you'd expect about 2 a day, about that size as a minimum, but a lot of times babies will have more. They might have 8 or 10 a day, and that's what I call bonus. Okay. Once they get to about 6 weeks, they often don't poo nearly as much, and have a word with your health visitor about that. That's only because breast milk changes to be a bit slower to digest. In your red book, if you look on, there's a page here which has a breastfeeding checklist. There's a green side, which is telling you things are going well, and then a red side where things to think about trying to help out with your baby. So you can have a look at that. And then also the wet and dirty nappies, there's a little chart here so that you don't have to remember it all. It's all there for you. We've also put this online. So you've got a sticker on the front of your red book, and you can go to our leaflets, and in our leaflets is that little mother's breastfeeding checklist. A lot of times mums worry if the baby cluster feeds. So with cluster feeds, you might find the baby feeds and then an hour again feeds, and then an hour later has another feed, and you might think, oh my gosh, what's going on? But that is a really normal behavior that babies have, and it's called clustering. And they might do it several times a day, and we consider that completely normal. Another thing to know about is that babies who are breastfed feed really often, so 12 times a day is really normal. And sometimes what they do is they'll have a feed and then 20 minutes later wake up and want a little bit more. And sometimes mothers can worry about that. But it's just remember that sometimes the baby wants a drink. So after a meal, they might just want a little bit of a drink as well. And then the sort of final thing is, I always think if your baby seems really happy while they're at the breast and feeding, things are generally going pretty good. And I think that's enough about how to know your baby's getting enough milk.